Anouk is a really successful and stressed corporate lawyer, but despite her phenomenal workload, she can't stop worrying about her weight. It hasn't really been very far from her mind in the 30 years that she's been dieting. When she came to see me initially, she told me that she thought she'd tried absolutely every diet going, and really all she wanted was to feel in control around eating. She wanted to lose half a stone, but the weight was less important than being able to feel that she was in control around eating. She was super smart and able to bring a laser focus to her work, and she brought that same set of abilities to each diet that she tried in the past. Each one succeeded in the short term, but then failed her. What most troubled her was the sense that she didn't have an off switch when it came to eating. And none of the diets that she'd gone on had really addressed that. To help her use her considerable strengths to overcome this weight loss block, first of all, we looked at the roots of the difficulty she had with stopping eating. By making sense of why the pattern had started, this really helped her ability to be compassionate with herself about what she was still doing all these years later. And in my experience, self-compassion is always helpful when it comes to making changes in things that no longer serve you. Second, I explained to her the basics of the human appetite system and introduced her to the appetite pendulum. And third, we identified the specific habits that she needed to change. The biggest of these was that, exhausted and ravenous when she arrived home late at night, she'd head for the fridge and start eating and eat way beyond the point of being full. As a first step, I asked Anouk about her early experiences around eating, and she told me an interesting story. She was the youngest of 6 children and had 5 older brothers, all of whom got fed first. She often felt hungry even after eating what was left. She was intrigued by the idea that this could still be having an effect on her decades later. She said it was something she hadn't considered before, but as we were talking about those years long ago, she had a gut feeling that being hungry now might be reminding her of a time when there truly wasn't enough to eat. This profoundly resonated with her and really made a difference when it came to making the changes that we then talked about. So the second step was explaining to her how the appetite system works and how hunger and fullness signals travel between the gut and the brain. I introduced her to my appetite pendulum, which is my 11-point scale where 0 is at the centre. It's a neutral point, you're neither hungry nor full, and the increasing positive numbers are to do with increasing levels of fullness, and increasing minus levels denote increasing levels of hunger. Really simple guidelines or rules for stopping at the point of being just full, which is +3 on the appetite pendulum, and waiting to eat until you're -3 and not more than -3, that is definitely hungry on the appetite pendulum, are intended to help to regulate eating. Anouk said that using the appetite pendulum, a light bulb went on. It allowed her to gently tune in and reflect on what her body needed right then. She found that far from her off switch for eating being broken, it was more a case of tuning into it meant that she could actually gauge when it was time to stop. And our third step was to do with working specifically on the homecoming hunger issue. For her, this was a key personal block to overcoming her stuckness around weight loss. And we were able to come up with specific strategies to help her to eat in tune with the appetite pendulum and learn to stop at the point of being just full. So what changed after 6 months? It was a real pleasure to listen to the changes that she had made. She told me, "I'm now in control of the off switch. Learning to trust myself was massive. I used not to trust myself around food at all. In addition, Anouk lost 12 pounds over those 6 months. After 30 years of battling with food, she told me, "I don't feel like I'm dieting. And what's more, stopping eating at the point of fullness is now like flossing my teeth every day. I can't not do it." That's a sign that a habit has become automated. You don't need to think about it much as it's become so much part of daily life. It's important to mention that if you find this content doesn't work for you, it is not your fault. Nothing works for everybody, and whether or not this approach works for you will partly depend on how your appetite system is working. If this isn't right for you, then please talk to your doctor or other healthcare professional about other approaches. If you'd like my professional help to help you to get off the treadmill of impossible dieting, hit the link in the description below. Please like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can watch my next video, which explains more about the appetite pendulum and how you can use it.